about it, they told my family, they said that he's so sick, I don't think he's going to make it through the night. Come on, put your hands together. Let's get excited again. They get excited. All right, let's go. Goals, dreams, aspirations, wanting to do better. That's something we all need. We should always strive to do better. We should always strive to do our very best. We should always go after more if it's humanly possible. But what happens when we have our map planned out for our lives and we're cruising down the highway and all of a sudden life decides to throw up a detour sign? What happens when we get where we think we should be and all of a sudden there's a sign that says the bridge is washed out and we have to find another way to get where we really want to be? If you would, come on, lock in with me. Let me take you on a journey through my life. Some years ago, fact about it, many years ago now, I was a senior in high school. Things were going well. I was a decent athlete. We were one game away from the state championship, and all of a sudden, life decides to throw up a detour sign in my life. We were there in North Familia playing ball, had an awesome game. I get home, and I started experiencing this pain in my left side and kind of in my back. So being an athlete, of course, you would think it's something dealing with football, right? But it was far from that. So time would go on, and I would get out of the bed and actually sleep on the floor. I would get back in the bed. I would get back on the floor. I would take medicine, Tylenol, Advil, you name it. I was taking it, trying to get better, thinking I had a pulled muscle or a herniated disc. I didn't know what it was, but I thought it was something dealing with football. Fact about it, the pain got so bad until I told my mother, I said, listen, we're going to have to go get this checked, because the trainers were working on me and different people at the school, but none of that stuff was working. So we went there to the bone and joint clinic to get checked out, and the doctor came in and looked at me, and he thought I had a spleen injury. So he says, I'll tell you what, we need to get him to the hospital as soon as we can, because I think he may have a ruptured spleen. And some of my nurses and doctors here in the audience, you know about that. That can be a very serious matter. Fact about it, it could be life or death. So we go to the Baton Rouge General, and they put me in this big machine, this big CAT scan machine, and take me in and run a CAT scan. And I'm thinking, you know, kind of the two Aspens, call me in the morning kind of stuff. I'll be back on the football field because I got to get to this state championship game, right? But wow, was I in for something completely different? Come to find out, I had a mass in my side, and the mass was spreading to both of my lungs. So, man, right then, I'm kind of freaking out. I'm kind of really tripping because I'm 17. I shouldn't be experiencing anything like this, right? So as time goes on, another week or so go by, my buddies end up winning the state championship without me. Come in the room with the trophy and all of that different stuff. And man, I'm excited, but still I'm a little bit bitter because I wasn't a part of it. So I remember late one evening, the doctor came in the room. He had this weird look on his face. So I'm looking at him, kind of trying to read him. And he's not as joyful as he normally would be. Calls my parents outside in the hallway. They stay out there for a while. Now I'm getting a little edgy, like, man, what's going on? Come in and talk to me. Tell me what's going on. So they all come back in, and Everybody's quiet, looking kind of weird. And the doctor laid it on me. He said, son, I'm sorry to tell you the 3 words that nobody ever wants to hear. He says, you have cancer. Whoa, wait, hold up. 17. I'm in the best shape of my life. How in the world is this humanly possible for me to have cancer? We'll speed it up now. So my life right about then was a whirlwind. Everything starts to speed up. They put me on an airplane. They fly me to Houston, Texas, to MD Anderson Cancer Center. And all of a sudden, I'm laying there. My oldest brother is there with me. He's holding my hand, and they're putting a tube in my arm that goes from my arm to my heart. And they say, tomorrow you're going to start chemotherapy. Everything's going fast. Everything's going crazy. Life had thrown me a detour sign. And how was I going to handle it? So I go on to take chemotherapy. And I went from a muscular 195 pounds, seemed like in a matter of a couple of weeks, to skin and bones to 135. People helping me walk down the hall, helping me get in and out of the bed, and all of this different stuff. Blisters in my mouth. All my hair fell out. It fell out now, but it wasn't from that. You know, that was back in the day of the high top fade. So to have a bald head, you know, it was kind of strange. So I went on to go through all of that, and it fought like crazy. And thank God we were able to beat it. And I would go back to high school and had to graduate a year later. But hey, we got it done. So I get out of school, go to college for a while, decide that wasn't really for me, started to work, found my wife, my sweetheart, got married, bought a house, 2 nice cars. The house even had the white picket fence, all of that, everything going pretty good. Cancer was behind me. Nothing else crazy would ever happen to me. Wow. Was I ever wrong? It was one January evening. The weather was cool. All of a sudden, I began to get scratchy throat. That's normal stuff, right? Wintertime, working outside in the elements. I was refueling aircraft at the time. Scratchy throat, no big deal, right? I began to get chills and fever. Started feeling really bad. Wow. What's really going on with all of this? And so my wife says, I tell you what, we may need to go to the ER. I'm like, man, I have to go to work in the morning. I can't miss work, you know. I have to make a living. That's all I was thinking about. I have to be a provider. I have to do better. I have to reach. I have to strive for more. She convinced me to go to the hospital. We went to the hospital. Doctor comes in and looks at me, says, I believe you have the flu. Prescribes me some medicine, sends me home. I'm thinking I'll be off from work a couple days. Everything would be okay. But boy, was I ever wrong. That next day, things began to go downhill fast. And I mean fast. Feeling worse and worse, getting sicker and sicker. Then all of a sudden, that night, things took a drastic turn. You wouldn't believe what happened to me. All of a sudden, my feet started to burn. Like, what is this? It's weird. My feet are burning. Never experienced anything like that before. So I asked my wife to give me some warm-ups, and because I was shivering and all that stuff, she gave me some warm-ups to put on, but I couldn't get warm for nothing. And my feet would not stop burning. So she says, baby, I think we need to go back to the hospital. I didn't argue with her that time. I say, I believe you're right. So I get up, I sit on the side of the bed. She says, can you walk? I'm like, sure, I can walk. I was always a person that believed in working out. I was jogging, I was lifting, all that different stuff. So I go to put pressure on my feet to stand up, and I fell back in the bed. She's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, I don't know. So I tried it again. I go to put pressure on my feet, fell back in the bed. She said, "What's wrong?" I said, I can't feel my feet." She says, "What?" I said, "Yes, I can't feel my feet. My feet are burning." And now it's gotten to the point where I can't even feel them. Come to find out, as they rushed me to the hospital and literally pretty much dragged me to the car, my dad and my brother dragged me to the car. I get to the hospital, everything's going fast again. Doctors are running around and all this different stuff. Fact about it, they told my family, they said that he's so sick, I don't think he's going to make it through the night. And we're going to talk about that. My family says, "I hear you talking, but we're not accepting that." I hear what you're saying, doctor, but we're not accepting that. That's why you have to have a good team around you. You can't do anything just by yourself all the time. And we're going to talk about that. Even in business, you can't do it by yourself all the time. You have to have good people, smarter people around you to help you, even when you're in such a mess you can't even fight for yourself. So we go through all of this different stuff. Finally, they figure out he's contracted a bacterial infection, meningococciemia, without meningitis. Don't ask me how to spell it. And they said what's happening is attacking all of his outer extremities. Fact about it, he doesn't have any circulation in his feet or his fingertips. That's why he's experiencing the burning. The news kept getting worse and worse. I'm like, man, can I just get some good news one day? Come in another day, they say his kidneys are shutting down. We're going to have to start dialysis. So all of this stuff is messing with me. So as weeks go by, even months, I ended up having both legs amputated. A week later, 6 fingers amputated, all because of this mysterious illness. So here I am again, fighting for my life, trying to really figure out what's going on. How would I ever get over this? Fact about it, can I really be honest with you? I was so frustrated. I was so aggravated. I was so lonely. Even though people were all around me, I was still lonely because nobody really understood what I was dealing with. I was mad. I was mad with God. I was mad with the world. There were some days where I didn't feel anything. I was just numb. It was just so much to handle. I didn't know how to explain it. I didn't know who to talk to. Got to the point where I couldn't even really pray because it was just so much, all of these different emotions. And sometimes in life, people tell you all the time, you need to be tough. Oh, you need to go through it. You need to keep pressing it. This and that. And yes, all of that is good. But believe me, it's okay to have feelings. It's okay to have emotions. Listen, as long as you use them to your advantage, we're going to talk about that in a couple of minutes. As long as you use them to your advantage. Can I really be transparent with you today? Can I really be transparent? This is what I was really feeling. This is what I was really feeling. Can I really be honest with you? It's what I was really feeling. This is what I was really dealing with. The question is, how do you see yourself today? How do you see yourself? Are you a victim? Are you a victor? Are you a winner? Or are you merely just existing? Or do you feel deep within your spirit you can overcome whatever life throws at you? Every day I rolled into the rehab gym. And this is what I saw in the mirror. Every day, this is what I was dealing with. But even though this is what I saw, I didn't feel this way in my spirit. Even though I saw a guy that had lost both legs, 6 fingers, within a 2-week span, even though I would roll into that gym and would look at these amputated legs and these amputated fingers, this is not who I saw. I saw someone within my spirit, man, that would overcome every obstacle that was thrown at me. Even though I saw my legs missing, I knew one day I would get up again. Even though I saw these fingers missing, I knew one day I would learn how to button a shirt again. I would learn how to tie a tie again, to tie a shoe again. Boy, that top button used to give me the blues. But hey, we got it. We got it. So the day came when the prosthetist came to visit me. I didn't know anything about prosthesis. They were explaining stuff to me. How do they hold on? How would they stay on? How do you walk? How would they feel? Where would the weight transition be? Will you walk on the bottom of your legs? Where would the pressure be? All of these different emotions. Now remember, I'm still mad. I was still aggravated. I was still frustrated. Still had all of these different emotions, but I knew I was in a fight of my life. And I knew couldn't anybody do it for me. I would have to do it myself. Now, I can accept encouragement from other people, but this was something I would have to do for myself. So when life throws you a curveball, or what I like to call a changeup. See, a changeup looks like a fastball, but it's actually coming at a totally slower speed. And most batters swing at it too early and strike out. When life throws you a changeup, how do you overcome? When you want to start the business and the lender says no, how do you overcome? When you want a better marriage, when you want to be a better father, a better mother, when life throws you a changeup, how do you overcome? First thing you have to do, watch this, listen closely, is schedule your meeting. Schedule your meeting. What are you talking about, Robert? Schedule your meeting. Whenever you endeavor to go after more, there's somebody, believe me, that you need to talk to. There's somebody that you need to meet with. There's somebody that has been where you want to go. And you need to schedule your meeting. I don't know if it's with a banker. I don't know if it's with a publisher. I don't know if it's another author, another pastor, another preacher, another teacher, another mother, another father. Whenever you want more, you first need to schedule your meeting. You see, my situation was a little bit different. My meeting was with myself. I can still remember I was in the rehab gym. And that day I was in such deep thought. The therapist kept having to say, come on, Robert. Let's go do this, do that. I wasn't really thinking about where I was. I was thinking about my meeting. I need to get to my room and have my meeting with myself. Because where I am, this is not what I'm comfortable with. I want more. I want to be able to be a great husband, a great father. I want to be able to run around and play ball with my children. Didn't even have children yet, but I saw them too. I wanted to be able to run up and down the levee and throw frisbee and play golf and all of this different stuff. I wanted more. The first thing I had to do was have my meeting. So I went back to my room that night. I laid there in the bed and I cried. It's okay to cry. Sometimes you have to get that pressure off of you. Don't let anybody tell you, stop the crying and all. No, sometimes you need to release that pressure off you. I cried, talked to myself. I said, man, you got to get up. You got to walk again. You have to be who God has called you to be. And this journey starts in the morning. See, a lot of people never have that initial meeting. People are scared to start something. You hear people say, oh, years and years, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And years, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And it gets to the point where when they say it, you're like, oh my goodness, here you go again. Because they never have the initial meeting to start. The second thing I needed was a plan of action. A plan of action. I knew I couldn't walk. But before I got to that point, there were a lot of other things I needed to do. I was weak. I knew I needed to get stronger. So that was in my plan. Get stronger. I knew I didn't have good balance because I've never walked on prosthetic legs before. That was in my plan. Work on your balance. What is it that you need to work on in your plan? First of all, what do you really want in life? Do you want more, or do you want to merely exist? Be the norm. I don't know about you, but I'm not built to be normal. Even with prosthetic legs. If you line up with two prosthetic legs, I'm going to do my best to outrun you. I may fall, I may stumble, but I don't want to be average. I want to be all that I can possibly be. Schedule your meeting. Who does your meeting need to be with? Your plan. What do you need to put in your plan? Your plan of action. And last but not least, watch this. This is the big one. This is the step that many people get stuck on. Work your plan. Work your plan. A lot of people have the meeting. They'll even write the business plan, the plan of action, but they never work their plan. I knew my plan would take some pain, some sweat, some tears, some falls, some stumbles. But I was willing to work my plan like never before. Watch it. The day came where Hanger Prosthetics bought my new legs. And they put them on me. Some of my family was there with me. They say get your bearings together, just kind of get used to having them on. See, a lot of times we want to go too fast. Get used to it. Get your bearings together. Get your thoughts together. Work your plan. Schedule your meeting, your plan of action. Now it's time to go to work. So the day came where the first thing I did, I didn't run first. I didn't walk first. I stood up. I stood up. And somebody out here right now, you just need to stand up. That's the first thing you need to do. You can't worry about running. You can't worry about doing all of these athletic things. All I could do was stand up. And they asked me, I was there in parallel bars. They say, you want to take a few steps? And I took a few steps, holding on for dear life. See, when you're first starting, you need help. You need somebody to hold on to, or something to hold on to. And then I went from the parallel bars to the walker. And I would walk around that gym floor day after day. And how many of you know that there were some falls? There were some stumbles. There were some days where I was worse than I was when I first started. I didn't understand it. It seemed like I was going backwards, but I kept fighting, kept walking. And then I graduated to 2 canes. Kept those canes with me everywhere I went. Then I went to 1 cane. And just when I thought I was getting it down, I would walk into somewhere and fall. My wife would say, you okay? You okay? I'm a little shook up, I'll be honest with you. But I'd be darned if I'm going to let this stop me. And I would get back up again. And I kept working and working and working and lifting and practicing until I got to the point one day I said, man, you know what? I think I may be able to run. And I got in the grass. And I started to run. It's like, oh, I think I can get it. And then as years go by, man, I was started to compete in the 100 meter, the 200 meter, shot put and javelin and traveling and competing against people. Man, I remember one day I was just walking by. We were up at the Endeavor Games in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I was just walking through the hallway and they had a weightlifting competition going on. And my manager at the time said, man, you want to get in it? Yeah, get in it. Man, I haven't lift real weights since high school. What are you talking about? So I was like, man, what the heck? I go in there and get like 3rd place. You know, you have to try. You have to try. You have to try. Watch this, family. I'll leave you with this. My father used to always tell me, he said, son, I was playing Little League Baseball. And we were watching Major League Baseball game. And a guy came up. And within 3 strikes, he was out. 3 pitches, rather, he was out. And the sad part was, he never swung at any of them. He just stood there and looked at them. My dad told me this, and I live my life by this. He said, son, never strike out with the bat on your shoulder. I'll say that again. Never strike out with the bat on your shoulder. He says, if you're going to go down swinging. And I'll leave you with that today. Listen, family, never strike out with the bat on your shoulder. Just watching, wondering, if I would have swung, what would have happened? Maybe I strike out. Maybe I hit a double, a triple, or perhaps I hit a home run. But believe you me, we have to go through life swinging at every opportunity. Listen, family, I love you. Thank you all for coming out. And remember this, press on, my friends, press on. God bless you.